John Gotti, the future Dapper Don of the Gambino crime family, was born in 1940 in the Bronx, New York. The Bronx during this time was a melting pot of cultures and ethnicities, a place where dreams and harsh realities coexisted side by side. His parents, John Joseph Gotti Sr. and Filomena, were both children of Italian immigrants. They had come to America seeking a better life, but the streets of New York were not paved with gold. Instead, they found themselves in a constant struggle to make ends meet. Life was tough in the Gotti household. The family was large, with 13 children, and resources were always stretched thin. Every meal was a testament to their resilience and determination to survive. John was one of 13 children, and the family struggled with poverty. The neighborhood they lived in was a tough place where the sounds of children playing were often overshadowed by the harsh realities of life.
The cramped apartment and lack of opportunities painted a bleak picture for young John. The walls of their small home seemed to close in on them, a constant reminder of their financial struggles. Growing up in East New York, I witnessed the allure and dangers of organized crime firsthand. The streets were a battleground, where the line between right and wrong was often blurred. I was drawn to the power and wealth of the local mobsters. They seemed to have everything that my family lacked: money, respect, and a sense of control over their destiny. The streets became my classroom, teaching me the harsh realities of survival. Every corner, every alleyway held a lesson, and I was a keen student, absorbing everything I could about the world around me.
And by the age of 12, Gotti had already dropped out of school. Education seemed irrelevant in a world where survival was the primary goal. He was ready to forge his own path, one that would lead him deep into the world of the Mafia. The allure of quick money and power was too strong to resist. Gotti's early life was a far cry from the luxurious image he would later cultivate. The opulence and extravagance of his future were unimaginable from the confines of his humble beginnings. The seeds of ambition were sown in poverty and hardship. Every struggle, every challenge he faced only fueled his desire to rise above his circumstances. From these humble beginnings, a future crime lord was born. The streets of East New York were the crucible that forged his character and set him on a path to infamy. He was determined to rise above his circumstances, even if it meant embracing a life of crime. The choices he made in his youth would shape his destiny and leave an indelible mark on the history of organized crime. The streets of East New York proved to be Gotti's first foray into the world of organized crime. These streets were a melting pot of cultures, but also a breeding ground for illicit activities. The air was thick with tension, and the shadows seemed to move with a life of their own. He fell in with a local gang known as the Fulton Rockaway Boys. This gang was notorious in the neighborhood, a group of young men who were more than just friends. They were a brotherhood bound by a code of loyalty and secrecy. This group, affiliated with the Gambino crime family, engaged in petty crimes like theft and gambling. They were the foot soldiers of the underworld, learning the ropes of a life that promised both danger and reward. Their activities were small-time, but they were a crucial part of the larger criminal ecosystem. It was a training ground for aspiring mobsters, and Gotti quickly rose through the ranks. His natural charisma and street smarts made him a standout. He learned the art of negotiation, the importance of loyalty, and the brutal reality of violence.
My charisma and willingness to use violence did not go unnoticed by the higher-ups in the Gambino family. They saw potential in me, a raw talent that could be molded into something formidable. I was given more responsibilities, more opportunities to prove myself. I gained a reputation for being tough, ambitious, and fiercely loyal to my associates. This reputation was my currency, and it bought me respect and fear in equal measure. I was becoming a force to be reckoned with. These qualities, while dangerous, were also highly valued in the world I was entering. Trust and loyalty were everything, and I made sure to embody these traits. The secret handshakes, the coded language, all of it was part of a world that was as fascinating as it was perilous.
Gotti's initiation into the Mafia was a turning point in his life. The ceremony was steeped in tradition, a rite of passage that marked his full acceptance into the fold. It was a moment of pride, but also a moment of no return. He was no longer just a street tough, he was now a made man, bound by the oaths and traditions of the Gambino family. This new status came with its own set of rules and expectations, a code of conduct that was both strict and unforgiving. He was now a made man, bound by the oaths and traditions of the Gambino family. This meant he was part of an elite group, a select few who had proven their worth and loyalty. It was a badge of honor, but also a heavy burden. This marked the beginning of his formal journey into the upper echelons of organized crime. The city was his playground, and the stakes were higher than ever. Every move he made was watched, every decision scrutinized. But for Gotti, this was just the beginning of a long and infamous career. Under the tutelage of Carmine Fatico, a powerful capo in the Gambino family, Gotti's criminal career flourished. He proved to be a natural earner, involved in hijacking, loan sharking, and illegal gambling. Fatico recognized Gotti's potential and took him under his wing, providing him with opportunities and guidance.
Gotti's ruthlessness and ambition were becoming increasingly evident. He wasn't content with simply following orders, he craved power and recognition. His loyalty to his crew and his willingness to do whatever it took to advance their interests cemented his reputation as a rising star.
As Gotti's influence grew, so did his ambition. He began to assemble a loyal crew of his own, men who would follow him without question. His star was on the rise, and he was determined to reach the very top of the Gambino family, no matter the cost.
Section 4. A man of influence. Gotti's growing power in the 1970s.
The 1970s marked a period of significant change for Gotti and the Gambino family. After the death of boss Carlo Gambino, Paul Castellano took control, much to the dissatisfaction of some members, including Gotti. Castellano's focus on white-collar crime and his disdain for the traditional drug trade created a rift within the family.
In 1973, Gotti was tasked with carrying out a revenge killing for the murder of Gambino associate, James McBratney. The hit, however, brought unwanted attention from law enforcement.
Gotti's brazen actions and his rising influence did not go unnoticed. Despite several arrests and convictions throughout the 1970s, Gotti managed to avoid substantial prison time. His ability to evade serious consequences earned him the nickname the Teflon Don, as charges seemed to slide right off him. His reputation as a survivor only grew.
Section 5. The Castellano conflict, seeds of ambition and betrayal.
The tension between Gotti and Castellano escalated throughout the early 1980s. Gotti, along with other disgruntled members of the Gambino family, saw Castellano's leadership as weak and detrimental to their interests. They resented his aversion to drug trafficking, a lucrative source of income they wanted to exploit.
Gotti, always the strategist, began to build support among the family's ranks, fostering loyalty and sowing seeds of discontent towards Castellano. He understood that to seize power, he needed to control the narrative and secure the allegiance of those who could make his aspirations a reality.
The conflict came to a head in December 1985. In a daring and meticulously planned hit, Castellano was gunned down outside Sparks Steakhouse in Manhattan. The brazen assassination sent shockwaves through the underworld and marked a turning point in the history of the Gambino family.
Section 6. The rise of the Teflon Don Gotti's reign as boss.
With Castellano out of the picture, John Gotti seized control of the Gambino family. It was a bold and audacious move that sent shockwaves through the Mafia world. Castellano's assassination was not just a power grab, it was a statement that Gotti was not to be trifled with. His ascension to the top was a calculated move, orchestrated through cunning, ambition, and a willingness to eliminate any obstacles in his path. Gotti's strategic mind was always several steps ahead, ensuring that his rise was not just swift but also unchallenged. He knew that in the world of organized crime, power was not given, it was taken. His reign as boss would become defined by both his ruthlessness and his undeniable charisma. Gotti had a magnetic personality that drew people to him, but he also had a fearsome reputation that kept his enemies at bay. His ability to balance these two aspects made him a formidable leader.
Gotti's leadership ushered in a new era for the Gambino family. Under his command, the family became more cohesive and more powerful than ever before. He implemented new strategies and expanded their operations, making the Gambino family a dominant force in the criminal underworld. He quickly consolidated his power, promoting loyalists and eliminating those who dared to question his authority. Gotti understood the importance of loyalty and made sure that those closest to him were unwavering in their support. This not only solidified his position, but also created a loyal inner circle that would protect him at all costs. He embraced the drug trade, recognizing its financial potential despite the risks it posed. Gotti was aware that the drug trade could bring in enormous profits, but he also knew it could attract unwanted attention from law enforcement. He navigated this dangerous territory with caution, ensuring that the benefits outweighed the risks.
Gotti's reign was marked by a high-profile, almost celebrity-like status, a stark contrast to the low-key approach favored by his predecessor. He was often seen walking confidently with his crew through the streets of New York City, exuding power and authority. This public persona made him a household name and a symbol of the Mafia's enduring presence. He relished the media attention, becoming a regular fixture in newspapers and on television screens. Gotti understood the power of media and used it to his advantage, crafting an image of invincibility. His nickname, the Teflon Don, was a testament to his ability to evade conviction, despite numerous attempts by law enforcement. The Teflon Don was at the height of his power, but his reign wouldn't last forever. Despite his seeming invincibility, cracks were beginning to show. Law enforcement was relentless in their pursuit, and internal strife within the Gambino family started to surface. The seeds of his downfall were already being sown. As Gotti's public profile grew, so did the scrutiny from law enforcement. The very media attention he craved became a double-edged sword, drawing the eyes of investigators who were determined to bring him down. His high-profile lifestyle, once a symbol of his power, would eventually contribute to his undoing.